All right, just some follow-up gems on this one here that I got. Peace in the hearts of men. That was a follow-up word I got from the Lord Jehovah. Peace in the hearts of men. Peace on the earth divides by 3. Peace in the hearts of men through Christ. All of that divides by 3 by Divine Ordinance. Peace in the hearts of men results in peace in the hearts of men through Christ results in peace on earth. So, I'm probably going to stay here in this place tonight, even though it is Saturday night. Because there is no one out there that has any intelligence in this town. That is to say, there is no intelligent conversations of a sufficiently high degree that would warrant my time elsewhere. I would rather stay here, speaking words of intelligence on camera, rather than go somewhere out there where there is no intelligence to speak of whatsoever. Such is the condition of the enlightened life. You simply cannot hang around a large quantity of human souls on this planet. It is an interesting reality to wake up to in life. Now, will stupidity ever be rectified? I don't think so. But thankfully, it can be avoided, which is what we are doing tonight. We are deliberately avoiding stupidity out there by staying in here and spending time alone with God. Thank God that God is with us everywhere. Oh, man. You know, folks, I can't believe that people stay as shallow as they do for as long as they do. It's fine when you're a kid, but at some point, you have got to know what this universe is and who God is. You simply have got to, and you've got to have a desire to start talking about God every single time you get together with other human beings. Otherwise, you are completely what we call missing the point, and you're completely depressing to be around because you're what we call lost. Lost. One more time. Lost. And you're really boring to be around because you have nothing to say about God. That is depressing. That is a tragedy. Okay? How can people stay shallow? How can you find any degree of satisfaction in just the same level of chit-chat that you have with human beings? It's completely unsatisfying. Until you're talking about deep things and you're seeing the deep things of God, your life will be 100% unsatisfying. I ran into a man today who was completely angry about something completely stupid because he's a shallow man. He doesn't know anything of any deep value. And that's why he's easily frustrated and easily angered about shallow things. Because he doesn't have depth in his soul. He doesn't have anything in his brain that would be considered deep knowledge of God. Deep knowledge about this world in which we live for the glory of God. How many people are going to stay shallow day after day, week after week, month after month, entertaining the same level of conversations that they do and they did back in high school? Did you know that God is capable of giving you deeper satisfaction? God is capable of growing you more than you've ever dreamed. Blessed are they which hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Ask and you will receive. Thirst. Ask. Crave more from God. If you're unsatisfied, ask God for more. He's got more. I think we need a revolution in Canada. We don't even know how to have God conversations. We don't even know how to talk about God in public. We don't even know how to philosophize with each other. We don't even know how to go there. That's pathetic. I'm like, why is this the culture? Why is it that people are just plain incapable of talking about God with a comfort level and just being open? Why is it? How annoying. How completely unsatisfying. I've preached this before, I'll preach it again. God graduates you to higher levels of pleasure. And eventually you've seen so much of the goods that you can't stomach anything that is cheesy anymore. You just don't have the time of day for it. You just simply can't even go there. You're just like, I have graduated from that experience. I have graduated from that whole level of conversation and social whatever. There are more fascinating things for us to look at, think on, and talk about. God is that person. If we're not praying and seeking God, if we're not bringing God into our conversations, it's going to be real boring as always. It's just going to be boring as always. There are few things that irk me more than a physically beautiful woman that doesn't know anything about God. There is nothing more angering in the whole universe than that. Here is this beautiful person, created by God, that doesn't know anything about God, and perhaps doesn't even desire or have the hope of learning anything about God. The greatest annoyance any human being can ever witness in this life, practically. Honey, be a God lover. Desire God. I want to see you in a Christian university. I want to see you in a Christian hall of learning. I want to see you in a Bible. I want to see you in a Christian learning environment. I want to see you on your knees in prayer. Most of all, I want to hear about you being alone in prayer large amounts of time, seeking and learning from God Himself. We have shallow women galore. We have every shallow woman galore like never before in the history of the world. 3 billion shallow women, perhaps. Lots of shallow women. Spending the most percentage of their time on their appearance and their human relationships, rather than any personal time with God. It's annoying, folks. Don't you get tired of it? Don't you get tired of dumb business transactions and dumb, shallow conversations? You've got to wake up and dropkick the whole scene and say this is completely unsatisfying. And if you have to spend weeks or months alone with God, just saying, God, I'm not going to hang around the dumb social scene for a while because it's just so bloody shallow. God, give me deeper things. Teach me something tonight that I don't know about you. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a discussion that goes to a sufficiently deep level where we actually get satisfied. Well, I don't even know what godless couples talk about. I can't even imagine. How do they even, I don't even know. It's like, well, how's the work going? How is your day? How are the kids? Did you do these things? here, let's selfishly grab each other to try and gratify ourselves every single time. I'm like, you gotta talk about God, man, woman, husband, wife. Please tell me you talk about God. What a crappy life. What a boring existence. It's the most boring life there is. I can't believe no one is preaching on how boring the godless life is. If there's one thing the godless get for their godless choice of godless living, it's boredom. It's raging boredom or meaninglessness. It's one of those two things. Actually, it's always meaningless. It just may or may not be boring. Sometimes they go from so-called excitement to excitement, and yet really it's boring. Even the things that are so-called excitements in the godless world are 100% boring. With no God in your life, there's no miracles. There's no amazement. Sometimes I wish we were a more philosophical culture, like we had places where people just preached in the streets and others actually listened, where we just had a culture of philosophy, and we had a culture of preaching, and we had a culture of sharing ideas, and that ideas were fascinating to people, rather than the next beer, or the next brutish game, or the next physical fling, or the next dumb material item to transact over. I wish we had a more philosophical culture where people would speak their minds from the streets, and others would listen and consider. And there would be a God culture, a talking culture, like I'm doing now, but in public settings. Oh my goodness. Like I said, folks, the range of human intellect is so vast it's not even funny. Down at the very bottom we have complete non-knowledge and complete non-understanding. Sometimes I wonder if people don't actually think a lot deeper than they put themselves off to be. I think that's a big problem with humanity in the modern world. Everyone obviously has the deep questions. They obviously, I'm assuming, I would just assume, because that's who I am, that people do think about God, and that they do think about big things. Why in God's name do people not share their concerns? Why does no one ever talk about it? How boring, how silly, how dishonest, how completely dishonest, how shallow, how unsatisfied. Are we that antisocial? Are we that cheesy that when we get together, all we talk about is cheesy things? Are we that immature in our understanding of God? Are we that pathetic in how much we know about God that we're just too ashamed to even go there? Oh, I'll just be put to shame by the fact that other people know more than... Well, you better educate yourself, you know? Have something to say about the Bible. Have something to say about God, honey. Please, please do. Please. I find it shocking how high school students haven't even read the Bible once. That's bad. Like, that's real bad. You got to motivate yourself at some point. At some point, you have to be what we call self-motivated regarding your knowledge of God. And stories you have to tell about God's personal activity in your life. That's a big one. I think there's a lot of religious people that don't actually have personal stories to tell of God's personal activity and personal experiences and personal involvement in their lives. Anyways, let me be honest here, folks. Today is Saturday night. It's just after 9 p.m. What is there currently for a young man like myself to go out and do in this city of Western British Columbia, you know, Vancouver, the greater Vancouver area? What are the options for me to go do? Well, I guess I could go preach like this on the street. But who would listen? I'd rather record a video that lasts forever and has the potential to be watched by millions of people in the future that actually care. I'm one of those people that can be happy with just about anything. I see the beauty of God in everything. But if I'm totally honest, folks, I would love to have a deep friend that is actually God-centric and truly in love with intellectual discussion regarding God. So, God, please provide. God, please provide me with all the coolest people on the planet to hang out with.